your host, Mimosa,
and co-host Kareem.
Welcome to Sometimes We're Boujee and Sometimes We Hood, to healing, navigating grief. It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Can you hear me?
No sound.
Oh, well, you're not going to always hear the intro. Well, welcome to Sometimes We're Boujee, Sometimes We're what?
No, give it to me.
You missed your cue, cuzzo?
I can't. There you go.
I'm about to say, welcome to Sometimes We're Boujee, Sometimes We're what?
Sometimes we heard. My bad.
Yes. A podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembrance. I'm your host, Auntie Mimosa.
It's cousin Kareem.
And whether you're in the depths of grief, slowly learning to live with loss, or supporting someone on their journey, this space is for you. So grief is deeply personal. There's no timeline, no rule book, no right or wrong way to navigate through it. But through shared experiences, honest conversations, and moments of reflections, we can find comfort, understanding, and hope. What's going on, fans? Love you. Thank you for joining. Each episode, we'll dive into the emotions that come with loss, like anger, sadness, guilt, acceptance, and talk with experts, survivors, and those who have walked this path. So you're not alone in your grief, and we'll move forward honoring the past while embracing the present. So I got everyone listening, I do apologize. I know my background might be a little loud. I'm outside. So I'm coming live from the memorial car meet for my oldest son who I lost back in May of 2021. So this show is dedicated to honoring the loss of children. So whether your child was with you for years, for months, for minutes, or whether you carried dreams of a child and never came into this world, this episode is for you. I dedicate this episode to my deceased son, Darius Jawan White, who was tragically killed on May 21 of 2021. And know that you are not alone. Your love is still real, and your grief is honored here. So whether you're grieving yourself or walking beside someone who is, or trying to better understand how to show up, this is for you. This episode is for you. So take a deep breath, find a quiet space, and let's begin the journey toward healing, one conversation at a time. Let's talk, let's heal, and let's remember together. Yes. So what's going on, Cousin Kareem?
It's chilling.
Chilling? Yeah. Okay. So I dedicate this special episode to myself, Dr. Nicola Mitchell, a good sister friend of mine, China Doll, and a gentleman that I met Friday when I was actually having some tires put on my car, who lost his son, Mr. and Mrs. Hardiman. I met him Friday and was talking to him. And it's amazing how it's just amazing how many people in this world have lost their children, you know? And they're not either, someone lost a child yesterday, someone lost a child today, somebody lost their child years ago. I can tell you it's not easy. Um, Not only did I lose a child, my grandmother, she buried two children, even though they were adults, but that loss is still difficult. It is still difficult. And it's something that it takes time to get through and get over. Thank you for joining. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining. And you know, when losing a child is often called like the grief that has no name
Mm,
because it defies the natural order of things. You always hear that a parent should never bury their child. You always hear that people say that. I
right.
don't I don't I'm gonna say I don't always agree. I don't agree with that because from the beginning of time, parents have been burying their children. So I also really quick want to give a shout out to Floor and Decor. Floor and Decor here in Wilmington, North Carolina on South College Road for hosting this memorial car meet today. Right now we have like a Corvette out, we have a Miata, a couple of cars, a motorcycle. So I know a little later on some more cars will be pulling in. Might get a little loud, but I hope everybody can hear me okay. So Kareem, cousin Kareem,
Yes,
tell me,
yes, yes.
have you had or do you know of someone that experienced the loss of the child other than myself? Do you know anyone else who has lost a child?
Yeah, actually, ironically, like two guys I grew up with, both brothers,
Hmm.
is tragically passed away. Shoot, let me think, like 3 years of each other. Like the
Wow.
middle, and it's
Hmm.
like the baby, and then the next one from the baby, both
Hmm.
passed.
Right.
Two boys, um, Barrett and Bruce,
Mm.
and it was like the other one, he kind of didn't want to say anything, and the second one, um, just had some complications, but
Right.
it just happened, and it's just. And I know that older brother had passed away when he was in his 20s or something like that. So
Right.
it was, the mother who her husband passed away, also a hardworking mechanic. You
Mm.
know, she survived with only two children out of
Right.
five, and so and she has, from what I was told, has dementia. So that's
Oh
not.
my.
So with that, it's gotta
Hmm.
be kind of difficult for the family. You know,
Right.
talking to the older brother, and it's like it's yeah, it's a tragedy when you lose more than one.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's just I can only imagine. I can only imagine.
Right.
For me
Right.
myself, I've had two miscarriages. Well, not me per se,
Hmm.
but the women that I was with, they both had miscarriages,
Right.
and it's just something that you'll never know of what would have been with those
Hmm.
children,
Right.
you know. But yeah, I mean, I know a couple other people um, tragically lost. um,
Hmm.
but yeah, just never really talked to the parents about it,
Right. Right.
and it's but I can only understand as much as I can.
Hmm.
Try to just that feeling of despair. You don't
Right.
have it, you know. Like there's nothing that's gonna answer the questions of why.
Hmm.
I think that's the hardest part. It's like why? Why did this happen to me? You know, what could have been what could have happened that could have prevented this?
Hmm.
It's like it's a sad thing.
It is. It is. And when you lose a child, it shatters the senses of how life is supposed to be or how it's supposed to unfold. And it carries layers of grief. The person lost, the future imagined, the dreams that lived with them. And when I like to share Deej's unaliving experience, tragically, tragic death, I will never forget the day. Never ever forget that day. So it was a Friday morning, and I was getting ready for work, and my youngest son, Darian, called me, and he said, "Ma," he was like, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm getting ready for work," and he said, "Did anybody call you?" And I said, "No." And he said, "Nobody called you?" I said, "No. What's going on?" And he took a deep breath and said apparently Deej was out with some friends and was hit by a car, and he's not here anymore.
Mm.
And I stopped walking because I was talking to him and walking. And I said, "What?" And he said, "Ma, Darius is dead." And it took a moment to register what he said to me. And he said, "Ma, I'm sorry." And when he said that, I knew it was real. And I lost it. I completely lost it. And then remembered I remembered that he was driving, and I gathered myself together as much as I could, and I just told him to be safe. I gathered my stop, I had to just gather myself together, and I just told him to be safe. Just be safe. And I I started calling family, friends, and that was a hard day. That was a very hard day. I had took a picture off the wall that I had a photo of him when he from his senior year of high school, and I just sat on the couch, and I can't say crying. It wasn't. It was. I wailed. Okay, I wailed the only way a mother could. It wasn't just
Soul
like
crime.
right. It was a deep soul cry because my firstborn was gone
Yeah.
at 28 years old. My firstborn was gone at 28. And uh, I had some friends come to the house, some girlfriends come to the house, and they watched after me. And one of my girlfriends, took my phone so I didn't have to keep explaining over and over and over again to people what happened. Um, so yeah, it was a tough day. So as a result of that, I hold a memorial car meet here in Wilmington, North Carolina, in his honor. So
Right.
yeah, and I'm doing all I can now not to.
Put it down. It's okay. Hold it
Yeah.
together. You got it. You got it, cuz. You got it. You got it. It's I've been impressed. Just everybody out there, just to let you know. I know, me and most cousins, but it's impressive just to know how she's handled this whole situation. Um, just over the last couple of years, it's with grace. And I don't even know how to really say this. Like, you were so majestic with it. That's the only way I can say. I don't know if anybody's ever told you that, but you've held it down. I mean, not for your only other son, but for your adopted sons,
Yeah.
his friends, you know what I mean? And,
Mhm.
you've held it down. You kept it like the glue for everybody. And, you don't, I mean, with me, we talk,
Mhm.
but I know like you really held it together,
And
over these
right.
last couple of years.
Speaking of
It's
adopted
impressive.
sons, right? Speaking of adopted sons, um, sons, the three that are here, come, come, all three come. Yes. So, yes, my adopted children, my adopted sons. I gained with his death, I gained about 50 children, but these three, come around, come around, come around. These three, come around, come. No, you didn't do anything. Come around, come behind ma, come behind ma. Come on, fit in. These three have held me down since Deej's death, along with my youngest son. But these three are part of his soul tribe. So you know, there's a fourth, but he's not here, um, not yet. But these three, Damien, Ed, Drew. I'm sorry, who? Blake. Yeah, sorry, my brain. It's too many of y'all. Uh, it's a lot of them that. whenever I come back in town, they are just like, "Ma, come on," and that's what we do. You know, yeah. So, so yes,
Yeah.
this is my podcast live. These are my extended children.
Yeah. Thank you, fellas, for holding it down. Thank you.
Oh yeah, that's cousin Kareem. That's my co-host. Yeah. Okay. Thank you. I'm gonna go piss out my kid real quick. I'm gonna go call Dave. Yeah. So yeah, they whenever I come in town, and there's others. Darius had a whole downtown family, downtown Wilmington, North Carolina family, where he, you know, in on the bar scene, and it's so funny because where he worked at, like all of them, primarily worked in the downtown night environment, right? So, and they might go from one club to the next, as far as working bars, working as bouncers, bartenders, you name it. So whenever I come in town, whenever I come to Wilmington, I make sure I go and see everyone, and it's like, Ma, come on in. I don't pay anything to get into a club, nothing. you know, so it's like, it's almost like it's like being treated with royalty here, you know. So, but yeah, and I see braids by Sean. Hey, Sean. She's another one. She's another beautiful soul that was here in Wilmington that knew Darius and moved to Georgia, and she, helped Darius keep his hair up. So, and I appreciate what you said um, about handling this grief with grace. I appreciate that. A lot of people, when I share my story, they're like, "How did you get up in the morning?" Oh, here's my other son. So if you hear a loud car, yeah, this is it. I would love to show y'all. I can't. I can't turn the computer. I don't know if I can turn it. No, it's not gonna allow me to turn the camera around. But I would love for you all to see this car. It's amazing. But yeah. Sean said Darius taught her how to dance. So Deej, I think the reason that I'm able to handle Darius's death with grace is because he meant a lot of things to a lot of people. And at his memorial, we did a memorial service for him. And at his memorial, all of his friends and the people that knew him, they were like, "Oh my gosh, he would give me the shirt off his back. He was so helpful. He was so knowledgeable, and he shared the nuggets, wisdom nuggets. The nuggets that I gave him in wisdom is the nuggets he shared with them." And everyone, they loved him. Everybody loved him. He was a really, I can honestly say, both of my sons are really good, have grown up to be really good men. They
That's a
have.
good thing.
They have grown up to be really good men. And thank you. Hey, cuz, hi. I'm not sure who that is. But hey. They grew up to be really good men. And as a mother, I'm very proud of them, very happy. Um I know, D just is here in spirit. I know he is. I know he's always with me. I always carry him around my neck. This is an urn, his ashes. He loved dragons, so his ashes are in here, and I always carry him with me everywhere. And oh geez, I believe, like, this year, to be 4 years next Wednesday, is difficult. It doesn't get any easier because you always miss them. But I want to say, I believe this one is a lot more difficult because, like, I know so many people who lost their children that I know. My brother friend Jamie, he's this is show is also dedicated to him. He lost his daughter shortly after I lost Darius, and another girlfriend of mine recently lost her son, and sister friend, I'm gonna say sister friend lost her son, and I can't tell you. I mean, it's like you feel isolated because people don't know what to say to you.
Hmm.
Um, Sometimes you have people who like want to fix your pain, um, and they want to fix their pain instead of like simply just witnessing it and being there for you. And it's people, there's a need to want like your child's name to be in memory and acknowledged. And like I said, the grief doesn't go away. It does not. It doesn't go away. Just it changes form, but the love that you will always have for your children is it's always there. It's always there. It's always there. You know.
So, yeah. So let me ask you a question because I've actually never thought about this until now. I know, like, I look at my kids now, I see them at the earliest period
Mm-hmm.
of recognizing like them, like when their face changed, like when they're around two, like they're gonna look like that for the rest of their life. Like
Right.
for you, like how do you see him as like do you revert back to that first time he started talking or walking and then you revert back to like the last time you saw him, you know what I mean, like with the long hair versus when he had no hair, things like that, you know what I mean? It's like how do you when the memories come to flood back in,
Mm-hmm.
what is the memory that the first memory that you see him?
Oh, when he was born, the day he was born.
Oh wow, you go all the way back there. Okay.
Yeah, the day Darius was born. Um, I spent 16 and a half hours in labor
Whew,
with him.
thank God I'm a man.
Yeah, I spent 16 and a half hours in labor with Darius. And when I finally, you know, they finally pushed him out, uh, he wasn't breathing.
Mm,
And the doctors and the nurses, they were rushing in and out of the room, clearing his lungs, trying to get him to breathe. And he let out the loudest cry you could ever imagine. And they wrapped him up and brought him over to me. And I look at like this caramel baby with all his hair on his head, you know? And then once he got in my arms, he stopped crying, you know? Um, I have a lot of fond memories of Deej, you know? Um, I think I talked, this is funny. So Darius played baseball. Both Darius and Darian played baseball growing up. And they were on a little league team. Darius had to be about 8 years old. And of course, big eyes, curly hair, and the bases. There was his friend Matt was on third, second. Sorry, his friend Matt was on second, and there was another teammate on third. And Darius came up to bat, and he hit the ball, and he was fast. He was a very fast runner. He hit the ball and pew took off running to first base. By the time Matt got off a second base good, before he even, I don't even think Matt realized what was going on. But by the time he got off of second base to start running, Darius was rounding second base and pushing Matt because you can't run past everybody.
right,
It's
right, right.
This is my other extended son. This is Damien.
Hey,
Yes, that's
what's
cousin
going on?
Kareem. So he's
How you
another
doing, man?
son. Yes, here in Wilmington. Um, but he was running so fast and pushing back because you can't pass anybody in baseball. And he
Yeah.
was running behind him and pushing him so hard and fast. So he pushed him all the way to third base and then had to run back to second and was safe. Everybody was cracking up and just yelling and screaming and just, it was that was a funny thing. That was funny. That's a funny memory of him. Um, Another funny memory was he played football as well. He played football, and again, fast. He was really, really fast. Um, and the coach was like, "Get him the ball," to his team. Deej got that ball, and when I tell you, you would have thought I don't like who's the fastest football player that runs. That Joker took off, and that was all she wrote. Nobody could catch him. Nobody. I mean, he dipped and twisted and turned and made it, made that touchdown. And they have pictures. Someone was there taking photos, and I have those action shots of him
Yeah.
running. Yeah,
That's nice.
yeah.
That's nice.
So, and it's good. And I can tell you that with the first year grieving your child, it's more of a processing because you have to get used to them not being there. A lot of parents, some people, some women cope, some women cannot cope. I know I saw a Facebook post where a young lady lost her child and in 2024, and this year Mother's Day she took her own life because she could not handle the pain.
Mm. Wow.
And my heart broke when I saw that post on Facebook. My heart broke. Um, Support system, you definitely need a support system. Um, I am grateful for my support system that I have. I'm grateful for my sister friend Rona. I'm grateful for my Atlanta family, friends and family, and I'm grateful for them. I'm grateful for you that I've had a lot of support in dealing with his transition, his tragic transition. Let me say that I've had a lot of support. So, and it hasn't been easy. There are days where I cry because I miss him. There are days when I'll just talk to him, you know. Um, on the drive up Friday, I replayed that, conversation in my head and I started to tear up, but I had to keep my eyes focused on the road, you know. Um, but there are times where it is like Mother's Day. We did the podcast on Mother's Day, and
Yeah.
honestly, on Mother's Day, I kind of just like stayed on the couch until it was time for us to do the podcast, and then I went back on the couch, you know, because I just wasn't, to me, it was just like another day, you know. You gone? You gonna come get Grammy kiss? This is my baby.
Your kisses.
Mwah, mwah. That's one of my extended grandbabies. you know. Um, you going, babe? Yes. Look, my extended daughter-in-law. Mwah, love you. Um, but yeah, like I said, lots of love here. Lots of love here in Wilmington. Would I ever move back? No, that's not gonna.
That was quick.
I
That was
gotta
real quick.
gotta make
Yeah.
light of it.
Yeah.
So, will I move back here? No, no. I will come visit. I come in November and I come in May. Those, and unless I decide I'm, have to come back to North Carolina for something else, because I have family that live here as well. Is when I come back. But other than coming back to move back to be closer with the my extended sons and stuff. No, 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 no. That's not happening. That's not happening.
Yeah.
No. But to move on, um, grief changes, but it doesn't end. Sean said, "Amen." That's right. She know I will not. No, she ain't coming back to Wilmington either, honey. Um, but grief changes. It doesn't. It doesn't end. It comes in waves. Um, Birthdays, anniversaries, milestones. Um, it doesn't. And like you said, there's no cycle. Like it's not in order. It's not in order. You're not. You know the denial and then angry and then it's not in order. Like the phases are not in order at all when it comes to grieving. They're not in order. I stayed that's another one. I was angry. So there was two transitions that took place. I was angry with my mother when my mother passed, and I was angry when Deej was tragic taken, with his transition. So um I was angry for very, very long time, very long
Yeah,
time.
understandably so. I mean,
And I still get angry. I still get angry. You know, Grief is not a linear path either. It doesn't go this way. you
no,
know, it's like riding a roller coaster. One moment you're up, you're down. You might be sideways, you might be left, you might be right, you might be diagonal. It depends on the day. It depends on the day. It depends on the events that's going on. It depends on the calendar. It depends on who's around. It depends on, what's going on. And it's just woven into your life. You know what I'm saying? It's just not, and there's no cure for grief. It's no cure. There's no, people thinking, like I said, it's not something that can be fixed. It's not something you just get over. Grief is not, doesn't work that way.
no.
Does not work that way. And I hope people like really understand that. I really
It's no
hope people
cure.
understand.
It's
There's
no
no
cure for it.
cure. No, there's no cure for it. You just have to work through it. You have to work through it. You know.
Do you think that it would have been, from your perspective, because I don't have a perspective, um, if it wasn't tragic the way it happened, do you think that it might have helped you if it wasn't as tragic as it was? If it was something that was unquestionable, like cancer, like, oh, okay, it was inevitable, or something else like that, brain tumor, versus the incident that caused this tragic. You know what I mean? Do you think that that might have changed anything for you as
No,
far as grieving?
no, no, because and I was talking last night with another sister friend of mine, and we were just talking about it. Like she lost her mom. As a matter of fact, Pastor Big Sis George, and we were talking about this last night. And I don't think, regardless if it was slow or tragic, the anger would still be there because he and I made plans.
Hmm.
We, like they said, it was the best way to get God to laugh at you, make plans, right? Or get the
Right.
universe to laugh at you, make plans. Um, but he and I had plans. There were plans that, he was going to run the businesses, and, you know, I was going to set him up and he was going to run them. And it's like, how dare you snatch the rug from under my feet? How dare you? How dare you leave me with this?
Yeah. Yeah.
And some people be like, well, oh, you have your second son. My youngest son doesn't want anything to do with my businesses. Nothing. He
A
wants
different person.
nothing. He is a very different person, and he wants nothing to do with the business or the businesses. But I explained to him, I was like, I everything's gonna be left to you. That's the succession plan. If it's not sold to somebody else, and then you just do what you want to do with them. Either you sell them, close them, whatever. You do what you want to do with the businesses, but for the most part, they are yours. You know. So yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, I don't
Thank-
think so. I don't. I don't think so. I don't think if it was cancer, I'm such a very much a holistic person. So, and he's a fighter.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I doubt if cancer would have won. You know what I'm saying? He would have been loaded up with soursop and all kind of natural herbs, and what I'm saying?
True that. Yes, indeed.
And look,
Yeah.
you got to fast. You got to do. You know what I'm saying? It just it. I'm very much on that holistic side of nature's cure. Nature is the cure, not necessarily man-made medicine is not the cure for everything. Um,
Yeah,
but
I
yeah.
can testify to that. I know a friend of mine, he beat cancer twice,
Hmm.
stage 4. You know, they
Right.
were like, they kicked him out to the point, like, they kicked him out the military because they're like, oh, you're going to die, so you can't serve the way you're supposed to serve. And
Mm.
then 4 months later, he's like, well, you guys can re-enlist me. Well, he was an officer, so it wasn't recommissioning him. And they were like, "Oh wow, we thought you were like, yeah, I know, but yeah, I'm here.
Mm.
Run all the tests you want." And yeah, they let him back in, and he
Right.
retired when he was supposed to. But
Hmm.
it's a crazy thing when people don't believe you know
Right.
holistically things can change. But no, I'll just ask you now because it's the strange thing. I mean, back in one of the earlier podcasts, I said I had to acknowledge the selfishness of myself.
Hmm.
You know, when family members, especially my mom's passed away, and other people, friends, it was like we had plans. Like, why did this happen? Like, we had stuff set up. And
Right.
I sit back sometimes and I try to get like too drawn into it and get mad at the situation. But
Hmm.
it's yeah, it doesn't make a difference how it happens, whether
Right.
it's or you don't know. It's never. We were talking about that on one of the other earlier podcasts too. Is like you're never gonna. The grief is gonna hit you one way or the other. It's the grief of losing that person
Right.
really affects you. How they relate to your life.
It's starting to come in. Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, Camaro. Yeah. It's a sad
Yeah.
thing.
It is. It is. But I do want to share, like, some tips on how to honor your child,
Mm,
and how to honor your loved one. Like, say their name out loud. Um, Create a memorial space for them, whether it's with a photo, a candle, plant a tree in their honor.
yeah.
Like I'm doing today with the car meet, as you can hear, like the cars are starting to come in. Um, I have a memorial T-shirt that I actually framed of Darius. You know, on special days, look at photos, write letters to them on special days, and make it a tradition so it feels meaningful.
Yeah.
Or start a new tradition. You know, um, it can feel overwhelming. When the pain feels like overwhelming, give yourself permission to grieve without judgment. You know, and it's okay. There's no reason to feel guilty about grieving. There's no reason to feel guilty if you're angry. Guilty or feel like you are being judged, you know, because you might be in anger, or you might be in denial, or you might be, um, it's however you feel it, it's okay. It is okay. It is okay. Um, know that it's okay to seek support, counseling, online groups. I prefer in person, and there's a host of support groups going on. Lean on your trusted friends. Like we said last week, grief can coexist with the moments. Happiness. You can experience happiness and or joy and anger at the same time. People are like, how do you do that? Well, yeah, Mother's Day, I had my moments of happiness, and then I went back to feeling, my moments of being angry, and my moments of depression, and my moments of hopelessness, feeling hopeless, and I think I went through all 7 stages of grief on Mother's Day. I really, I think I did. I believe
It's understandable.
I really did, but it was okay. You know, it's okay to sit and have a conversation with people you love and cry. It is okay. It is. It really is. And that's what people need to understand. You can do. It's okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think people they want to put up this face,
Mm,
and pretend like I'm okay, I'm okay, I'm okay. It's just a part of life, but
right.
it's not that way when you go through it. When you're in it, it doesn't feel that way. You try to tell yourself, "Oh, you know what? I'm just gonna do regular life, go back to
Hmm.
whatever you know things that
Right.
I was doing." And when you're in it, you realize that this is not happening.
Right.
It's not happening because the more you try to ignore it, I believe the worse it gets. It's like when you're not trying to deal with it or accept it, it's just like it will
Hmm.
hit you at the worst moment,
Oh
and
yeah.
you'll find yourself on your knees or on the floor, weak.
Definitely. Definitely. And I want to say, like, there was a pivotal moment for me because um DJ's phone, his phone, sir, I was paying for his phone, and I had no intentions on cutting the phone. Actually, myself, Darius, and Darius, we all had a plan together, a family plan, and I had no intention on cutting the phone. I was going to wait a year before cutting the phone off, and I would call the phone just to hear his voice message, so I could hear his voice. And I want to say maybe 2 months in or 2 months later, I called the phone number and it said the phone was no longer in service. I called Darian so fast and I was at work. I called Darian so fast. I was like, "Did you change the plan? Did you do something with the plan?" And he was like, "Cause I made them authorized users, so if they needed to do anything. And he was like, "Well, yeah, ma." He said, "I cut the phone off because," and I was like, "No." I couldn't breathe that day at work. Like I couldn't breathe. And he was like, "Mom, I'm sorry," but I guess it's a good thing he did it when he did it because I probably would have never cut the phone off. Even though I said I would leave it on for a year, I probably would have never cut it off. I would have called that phone, every other week or once or twice. Who knows how many times I would have called. But I probably would have called it a lot just to
Hear his
hear
voice.
his voice.
Yeah,
And I have videos of him. There's a video I'll put up next Wednesday of him dancing that a friend of his made. There's a video of him inside the hood, the front of the
or
car
the engine bay.
engine bay, and he's acting like he is the engine. He's like, and he's cracking up with his friends. Um, I have videos of him playing the guitar downtown at Bourbon Street Cafe. So I have a lot of things that I can look at, photos, to like really hold on to his memory. Yeah.
In remembrance of. Yeah,
Mhm. Yep.
it brings me a sense of peace. Like you just said, it brings you a sense of peace. Yeah, just to
Mhm.
have those things.
It
It's like
does.
it's it's funny. like I was talking to some people about that, like growing up, being a '90s baby or whatever, '70s baby. I don't know what the heck we are, but anyway, like
The
like we didn't
seven
have cell phones that
babies.
took pictures. You know, it's like we had cameras and rolls of film you had to take to the
Mhm.
shop to get developed. I remember it took like even today. It's like it's hard for me to take pictures. I be forgetting. I'll be at my kids' events. I'll be like, oh shoot, I'm supposed to be taking video and pictures. Like they'd be dumbing out because I'm still not used to it. It's been a decade now with camera phones, and I'm still not
Uh,
really into doing it. You know,
right.
thank God my wife is younger. She's used to this kind of stuff. But you know, if it wasn't for her, I would have no pictures of my kids. Like,
It will all be memories for you, right?
yeah,
It will all be memories, all memories, all memories.
like,
But yeah,
you,
it's it's
it's funny.
it's it is that is funny because and I have so many pictures of Darius, and it's crazy because it's like the firstborn thing. You know, you have your firstborn, and you take all these pictures of your firstborn, and then the second child comes around, and you're like,
I'm
oh wait,
over it.
I gotta get this photo. I gotta get this in. I gotta. It's like you almost forget that like that's what they say. That second child is the one that just does not care. They are super feral, and
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Child,
Yeah.
and
It's
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 funny,
funny.
but it is. That second child is like,
Yeah, they
you
get a little bit harder, a little bit more
yeah,
for the wear, right? Worse for the
yeah,
wear. It's like you
exactly.
fall down, the second one falls down. You're like, okay,
Get up.
yeah, yeah.
No,
You
but
learn a little bit more with the second one. It's like,
yeah. And I can say that, and that's the thing about how we love our children differently. And in grieving, Darian and I both support each other. Um, we support each other. And I still, even though I'm grieving Darius, I am still very much there for Darian, you know. Um, I can definitely tell you that when you lose a child, it changes you. It changes you a lot. Or when you lose someone very close to you, very special, that it changes you. And nobody, unless you've been through this, you have no idea how much it changes you as
do
a
you
person.
feel more guarded? Do you feel more guarded with your heart, or I don't know? Yeah, I guess your heart. You feel more guarded that way, just like with try not to get like emotionally attached sometimes.
Yes, very
Yeah.
much so. Very much so. Um, um, guarded is not the word. Oh, look, big sis Pastor George just showed up. You hear her mouth?
Oh, okay.
Um, but yeah, very guarded. Yeah, don't want to get attached to anybody, really. You know, it is. It is difficult. Um, it almost it's one of those things where when you love your children so much and you want the best for them, you know, you want the best for them. Um, you want the you just want the best for them. Um, give me a second. And the the guarded part, the being guarded part is there because it's almost you almost go even though you when you lose it and I can only speak this from a parent who really loves their children because I can't speak this for all parents. I can only speak this for myself to say that in losing Deej, in losing Deej, it was almost like an abandonment at the same time, you know. And no, you don't want to. You don't want to get close to anybody else because for that, it's like you're gonna leave, you know, for that fear of that person leaving, individual leaving, whether it's on purpose, not on purpose. Yeah,
It's like a void now that you don't
yeah,
need to fill. It's like
right,
it's just going to be a void. That's
exactly.
it.
Yep, all day, all day. So it does. We covered a
No,
lot of
it's
loving.
deep.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will say definitely, and be patient with yourself. That's the other thing. You have to be patient with yourself. And and I often, when women hear my story, they're like, how did you get up in the morning? How do you get up in the morning with the fact that your child was tragically taken away from you? I don't know. I'm like, it is, it's
The strength that's inside of you is
right.
unexplainable. I like the fact that you brought that part up about not you still have to be a mom to Darren. It's
Yes.
like I think a lot of people get, I shouldn't say a lot. Um, Maybe some people will get lost in their grief to the point that they forget that they're still a mom, still a spouse, and
Hmm.
they get so tied in. Nothing wrong with that, I would imagine, but at the same time, it's like it kind of makes the other person feel some kind of way. But like you brought that up for a reason because you maintain relationship with Darren, so you know that's
Right.
the another strong point for you is that you know responsibilities still have to be met.
Right. And even though Darian, was an adult, at the time that of Deej's transition, I'm still, you still have to be there.
Yeah, I
You
mean
have
it
to,
was his brother.
right.
It was your son, but it's his brother. He
His
still
brother.
has his own grief. You share
Exactly.
the grief, that grief,
Yeah.
different ways, but in somewhat similar ways.
Right.
It's a good
Yeah.
thing. At least
Yeah.
that you said the support, being able to have the support.
Hmm.
That's a great thing.
It is. It is. And I'm very grateful for my support system. Very grateful for my support system that consistently shows up. Consistently shows up. Yeah. Yeah. Consistently. So, losing a child, I will say that, losing a child is never easy, whether it's tragic, whether it's slow, through cancer, the child is sick, tragic, hit by a car, killed by the police, um, you know, at car accident, what have you. It's just very, whatever, however you lose a child, it's not easy. That's a part of you. That little person that you brought into this world that you took care of, it's a part of you.
Yeah.
And because you cannot, as women, we cannot make another one. You always hear that joke about that, with Bill Cosby and the kids, his wife is like, oh, I'll take you out, make another one that look just like you.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No,
It doesn't work that way.
it's only that one. It is only that one. You cannot make another one that look just like them. You know what I'm saying? You cannot make another one that has that same personality. Um, you just can't. It's just that one person, that one footprint in this world. And
Yeah. Even with twins, they don't come out the same.
no,
They don't
even
come
if
out the
they're
same at
identical,
all.
they sure, yeah,
Yeah.
even if they are identical, they're not the same.
No.
They're not the same. So, uh, so I definitely want to say again, Shout out to Floor and Decor here in Wilmington, North
Whoop, whoop,
Carolina,
whoop, whoop.
on Carolina Beach, on College Road, South College Road, for allowing us to utilize their parking lot for a car meet. Um, we will be here from 6:30 till about 9-ish p.m. and across from Kmart, the old Kmart. Any closing words before we close out?
Take your time, young man. Mama used to say. Nah, yeah, that's about it. Just like that. Take your time and heal. Take your time and heal. Wherever it is, if you've lost a child, especially, take your time. Don't let nobody rush you. And if they rushing you, you might want to rush away from them.
Right.
Because yeah, this is on you. This is your time.
Exactly.
I'm just repeating what you said earlier. So, I got no advice on this one. Yeah, I got no advice on this one. I mean, yeah.
Yes, thank you, Sean. I feel the hug. And if anybody is commenting on Instagram, unfortunately, I cannot see you, so I do apologize. Thank you, fam. Um, but I will say, I got big sis, Pastor George here, and I want to just say, thank you all for joining us today on this journey through grief and healing and remembrance. Grief is not something we simply get over, it is something we learn to carry, something that shapes us, something that teaches us about love and resilience. Love and
Yes,
resilience, two key words right there, love and resilience. And it's a forever love. And as you move through your own process, remember to be patient with yourself. There's no timeline, no right or wrong way to grieve. Honor your feelings, embrace the memories, and allow yourself space to heal in your own time. If today's episode resonated with you, we'd love to hear your thoughts. So feel free to reach out and share a story, or let us know how grief has shaped your journey. And if you know someone who might need this conversation, please share this episode with them. You can reach out to us on Instagram at SBSH Grief, or on Facebook, Sometimes We're Boujee, Sometimes We're Hood. On TikTok, Sometimes We Boujee, Sometimes We Hood. Or you can go in my personal Facebook, Mimosa Queen of Life Chestnut, or on my Instagram, Queen of Life Empowerment. You can reach out to us and, send a DM, let us know how you're feeling, what you're thinking, whatever you want us to talk about on the grief journey. Please let us know. More than happy to, have that conversation. And yes, thank you, Sean. Thank you. Yes, you are so welcome and on being here today. And a lot of people do miss him. And I am grateful for your presence in Teach's life and braiding his hair, Sean. I thank you for that. Um, and like I said, his car family, they're slowly starting to roll in. And other than that, the only thing I can say is until next time, be kind to
yeah.
yourself, hold space for your emotions, and remember, you are never, ever alone in this journey. Some people just don't want to talk about it, but we do. And take gentle care of yourself. You are carrying the most beautiful love there is, and that's the memory of your child. You don't have to walk this road in silence. Your love and your child's light still matters. And with that being said, have a great one.
Enjoy, guys.
All right.
Thank you.
It's a podcast dedicated to exploring the complex emotions of loss, the road to healing, and the strength found in remembering.